What if the stars above are not burning for themselves, but for you, so that they may be seen? The thought is unsettling. A universe vast beyond comprehension, billions of galaxies, each carrying suns and worlds, and yet all of it may exist only so that a single pair of eyes can witness it. You are not a passive passenger drifting through a pre-written cosmos. You might be the reason it continues, frame by frame, to unfold. Without your gaze, perhaps there is no sky. Without your awareness, perhaps there is no time. This is the haunting theory that the universe is not separate from you at all. It is using you, living through you, observing itself through your very consciousness. What does it mean to see yourself in the world? At first glance, it sounds like metaphor, the kind of poetic trick that fills a line of philosophy or religion. But consider it more literally. What if every particle, every field, every movement of the cosmos is a kind of mirror, reflecting back to you the very act of being alive? You stand in front of a pool of water, and your face stares back, yet the reflection is not contained in the water, nor in the light, nor in your eyes alone. It is contained in the relationship, a shimmering loop where matter and mind recognize each other. This is the first secret of the universe's observer, the recognition that observation is not passive, it is generative. The reflection does not exist until you stand there looking. Science, in its cold clarity, has already whispered this truth. Quantum physics tells us that particles do not settle into definite states until they are measured. A photon may travel both paths of an experiment until your act of noticing collapses the wave. This is not mysticism, it is mathematics. And yet, beneath the equations, there lies a question deeper than calculation. What does it mean that the universe only decides what is real when someone or something looks? Matter itself may be inert, but in its inertness, it waits to be awakened by attention. In this sense, the universe carries a mirror inside it, and you are both the subject reflected and the one who does the reflecting. This mirror is not glass and silver. It is the structure of existence itself. Consider how your brain, a lump of flesh and electricity, generates a mind capable of abstracting itself into infinite mirrors. When you imagine yourself thinking, when you ask, "Who am I?" you have already divided into two, the observer and the observed. You peer into the folds of your mind, as though into a cosmic hall of mirrors. But the same principle extends outward. When you stare into the night sky, those stars are not alien. They are your mind's extension, a canvas upon which thought paints meaning. They are the distant edges of the mirror. The universe only becomes meaningful when mirrored back through the consciousness that sees it. Now pause, breathe. Imagine walking into a vast cathedral with walls lined entirely with mirrors. The moment you step inside, your single body becomes 1,000 bodies, endlessly multiplied. Turn your head, and each reflection turns in perfect synchrony. Yet none of those reflections exist without you. They are contingent, dependent, illusions that reveal a paradoxical truth. Reality may be nothing more than the endless reflections generated by your own presence within it. In this way, mirror within matter is not symbolic, it is literal. The particles of the universe are the cathedral walls, and you are the original figure whose awareness gives them form. Neuroscience gives this an even stranger angle. The human brain contains mirror neurons, cells that fire not only when you act, but when you see someone else act. To observe is in some sense to become. When you watch another person lift a hand, part of your brain lights up as though you were lifting it yourself. In this way, your nervous system does not simply observe, it enters the world, embodies it, makes it part of the self. So too with matter. When you observe the universe, it is not just standing still as a picture, it is entering you, reconstituting itself in your mind, becoming alive in ways it would not otherwise be. And then the paradox arrives. If you are the one reflecting, where does the original lie? Is there even an original? Or are you yourself just another reflection, another surface in which the universe mirrors its own desire to be seen? The self feels solid, but neuroscience also reveals its instability. Your sense of I is an emergent property, a story told by billions of neurons firing together, synchronizing perception, memory, and attention. It is no more permanent than the reflection in the water. The you that sees is itself a mirror within matter. Step outside again. Look at the trees. Look at the air moving between their branches. Look at the sunlight spilling across stone. Ask yourself, what do these things mean without you? They are vibrations, waves, particles. They are atoms in motion. They are patterns. But patterns require recognition, and recognition requires someone to hold them in awareness. Without a mind, there is no tree. Without a gaze, there is no sunlight. They exist as raw energy, but not as the things you know. They require a mirror to transform into meaning, and that mirror is you. So the question emerges, is the universe alive only because it is mirrored back by those who live within it? If so, then you are not a separate entity moving through indifferent matter. You are the essential condition of its unfolding. You are its mirror, hidden within the very matter you observe. It sees itself through you. And yet, the mirror does not give answers. It only repeats the question endlessly. Who is observing? You see the stars. The stars reflect your gaze, but is it you who observes the universe, or the universe that observes itself through you? The distinction collapses, the loop closes, and in that moment of recognition, the reflection deepens. This is where the journey begins. With the mirror, with the matter, with you. What is an eye, if not a doorway, where the universe comes to life? You may think of sight as passive. The world is already there, and you simply take it in. But consider how fragile this assumption is. Close your eyes, and the world vanishes. It does not matter that galaxies burn, or oceans crash in their endless rhythms. To you, they are gone. Reality waits, silent and dormant, until the eyes open again. In that instant, color floods back, shape returns, movement begins. The world is reborn every time you look. Biology tells us the eye is an organ, a sphere of tissue, a device for collecting light, yet that reduction misses the truth of its function. The eye is not just a collector, it is a translator. Photons travel billions of years, crossing cosmic distances, colliding with your cornea, bending through your lens, striking your retina. There, rods and cones ignite in electric whispers, but light itself carries no color. It carries only frequency, vibration. It is your eye, and your brain interpreting that eye, that transforms vibration into green, into blue, into the haunting crimson of a sunset. Without eyes, there is no color. Without color, there is no world as you know it. So perhaps the world does not exist independently of your gaze. Perhaps your gaze brings it forth. Philosophy echoes this. Berkeley, the idealist philosopher, once claimed that to be is to be perceived. He was dismissed as extreme, but physics has since given his idea strange credibility. The double-slit experiment whispers that particles move as waves until they are watched. Light itself does not decide whether to act like a particle or a wave until someone checks. It is as though the universe hesitates, uncertain, waiting for the eye to tell it what form to take. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a cliff, watching the horizon stretch into the ocean. You believe you are looking out at something immense and solid, but turn inward. The ocean exists inside your brain, as patterns of electrical firing. What you call the world is a construction built in the dark folds of neural tissue. The eye does not show you what is there. It allows you to create what is there. The ocean you see is not the ocean itself, but the one born in you. The paradox sharpens when you realize this process is recursive. Your eyes create the world, but your eyes are themselves part of the world. They were formed by evolution, sculpted by natural selection, designed to notice predators, to track prey, to fall in awe at beauty. In this sense, the universe shaped your eyes so that your eyes could shape the universe. It is a loop without origin. Which came first, the gaze or the world that gaze reveals? You cannot say, each depends on the other, spiraling in infinite recursion. Neuroscience deepens the strangeness. Vision is not a one-way stream from eye to brain. The brain projects expectations down into the eye, filling gaps, interpreting shadows, inventing details. Half of what you see is not given. It is imagined, supplied by your own mind to make sense of the chaos. That tree outside your window? You do not see all of it. You see fragments, edges, flashes of green. Your brain constructs the rest, telling itself the story of a tree. This means your gaze is not just receptive, it is creative. Each time you look, you are not merely seeing the world, you are birthing it anew. And so the eye becomes not a window but a womb, a place where reality comes into existence, over and over with every glance. You may walk down a familiar street, and yet the act of looking makes it new each time. The sun strikes the pavement, children laugh, a shadow falls across a wall, and reality, in all its fleeting precision, emerges only in that moment of being seen. It did not exist a second before, and it will not exist a second after, except in memory. Now pause, and let the weight of that realization settle. If your eyes birth reality, then every gaze is sacred. To look is to create, to ignore is to erase. The stars in the night sky exist not merely as points of light, but as possibilities that your sight completes. Perhaps they shine for no reason other than this: to be noticed, to be brought into being by the act of vision. And yet the paradox lingers. If eyes birth reality, whose eyes birthed you? Did the universe require its own gaze to awaken? Are you the child of a cosmos that could not exist until it found a way to look at itself? In your pupils, it may finally have succeeded. The dark iris is the void peering back. The gaze you carry is not yours alone. It is the universe recognizing itself in the mirror of your flesh. In this way, every blink is an act of creation. Every glance is the beginning of the world. The eyes, fragile and small, carry the immensity of existence in their silent work. You do not merely observe reality, you give it birth. What if the universe you know is not something you walk through, but something you weave with every thought? Consciousness is often treated as an accidental spark, a byproduct of matter's blind complexity. But what if it is the other way around? What if matter is the byproduct, and consciousness is the architect? Think for a moment of the room you are in right now. Notice the walls, the faint hum of electricity, the subtle shadows that stretch across the floor. These details exist because you are noticing them. If you stopped noticing, if you turned away, they would retreat into dormancy, waiting to be awakened again. And here, I must ask you, because this matters. Where are you right now? What time is it for you as you listen to this voice? The reason I ask is simple. In this theory, your time and place are not trivial. They are the coordinates upon which the universe builds its stage through your perception. Without your here and now, there is no there and then. Consciousness is not a light flickering in darkness. It is the sculptor shaping the clay of reality. Neuroscience shows us that the brain does not simply record the world, it predicts it, anticipates it, builds it from within. At any given moment, what you think you see is partly real, partly hallucination. The shadows of expectation and memory layer themselves upon raw sensation, carving the world into a form your mind can manage. And so the cosmos you experience is already sculpted by your awareness before it even reaches you. This is why two people can look at the same sky and see two different heavens. One sees order, constellations, meaning etched into the stars. Another sees random points of light, cold and indifferent. The sky is the same, but the consciousness that sculpts it is different, which means the universe you live in is not the universe, but your version of it, your private sculpture of infinity. Philosophy hints at this too. Kant argued that space and time are not external realities, but forms of intuition, frameworks the mind uses to shape the raw data of existence. Without consciousness, there may be no space, no time, only the unformed potential of being. In this way, you are not in the universe. The universe is in you. Pause for a moment. Consider how every word you hear now is not just sound but a world you sculpt in your imagination. The rhythm, the pauses, the echoes. These are not carved into the air, they are carved into your awareness. The cosmos unfolds not because it is there, but because you are here, shaping it, interpreting it, bringing it alive. And here lies the paradox. If consciousness sculpts the cosmos, then what sculpts consciousness? Is your mind an independent flame, or is it the universe's own hand, shaping itself through you? Perhaps you are not the sculptor but the chisel, the tool through which the cosmos brings form to itself. Either way, the cycle holds. Reality requires consciousness, and consciousness requires reality. Each exists only in the sculpting of the other. So when you look around, when you measure time on your clock or trace your presence in a location, understand this. You are not merely recording the universe, you are building it. The cosmos is sculpted through your being, and in your awareness it finally becomes real. We often imagine the universe as built from lifeless pieces, atoms colliding, electrons whirling, forces binding. But what if inside every atom, hidden in the very structure of matter, there is already the seed of awareness? Not consciousness as you know it. No thoughts, no feelings, but the possibility of being observed, the potential for reality to awaken when looked upon. Atoms are strange things. They are mostly empty space, with a dense nucleus surrounded by shimmering probabilities. The electron is not a particle, not truly. It is a cloud, a field of potential, until someone asks where it is. Then, as though embarrassed, it chooses a position. The act of observation pulls it into place. This is not philosophy, it is the mathematics of quantum mechanics. An atom by its nature contains both the unseen and the seen. It hides the observer within its very form, waiting for consciousness to collapse the probabilities into certainty. Consider this: if atoms require an observer to decide their state, and if you are made of atoms, then your very body is built from matter that demands to be looked at. You are composed of particles that are unfinished until noticed. This means that even before your mind reflects on the universe, your physical being is already entangled in the act of observation. You are observation embodied. The cosmos constructed itself out of ingredients that longed to be measured, and now here you are, measuring. Philosophy has wrestled with this. Is matter independent of mind, or is mind hidden within matter itself? Some traditions whisper of panpsychism, the idea that consciousness is not an accident of evolution, but a fundamental quality of existence, present in some form even in the smallest atom. If this is so, then the universe is not lifeless machinery. It is awake, all the way down, carrying within each particle the faint glimmer of the observer it will one day become. Pause, and imagine a single atom of carbon, alone. It is a flicker of probabilities. But join it with others, and patterns emerge. Molecules, structures, bodies. Eventually, from enough repetition, consciousness arises. Your thoughts, your dreams, your awareness. They are the flowering of countless atoms hiding the observer within, which means the line between matter and mind is not as sharp as you once believed. Matter is mind in waiting. Mind is matter awakened. Think of the paradox. You observe atoms, but atoms make up your eyes. You look upon the world, but the world is what enables your gaze. The observer and the observed are not two separate entities. They are one loop, one circle, folded into itself. In every moment of perception, atoms both give and receive observation. The smallest building blocks of reality are not silent. They are participants, part of the act of being known. And so, when you hold a stone, you are not touching something inert. You are touching the hidden witness of the universe, condensed into form. When you breathe, the air entering your lungs is not just chemistry. It is the silent presence of particles that have waited billions of years to be felt, to be noticed, to take their place in reality. The mystery deepens when you realize that without the observer, atoms themselves may not exist in the way you think. Does the moon exist when no one looks? Einstein once asked this with skepticism, but quantum mechanics leaves the question trembling in uncertainty. The observer is hidden in the atom, but the atom is also hidden in the observer. The two cannot be separated. So next time you look at your hands, remember, they are not only yours, they are the universe's own hands, composed of atoms that whisper of observers hidden within them. You are not apart from matter. You are the gaze of matter upon itself. And in that realization, the distinction between what is alive and what is dead dissolves. Everything is alive in the act of being noticed. In every atom, the observer waits. In every breath, the cosmos becomes aware. What is existence without perception? A tree in the forest, unseen, falls into silence. A star collapses light years away, its brilliance unknown if no eyes ever catch it. Philosophers have asked this question for centuries. If something is never perceived, does it truly exist? And physics, in its strange whisper, seems to suggest the same. Matter is possibility until it is noticed. The universe, vast and ancient, becomes real only when woven into awareness. Think about the simplest detail, the color red. It feels self-evident, as though redness belongs to the world, but redness does not exist outside perception. A rose, left unseen, carries only wavelengths. It is your mind, decoding those vibrations, that paints the rose with crimson fire. Without perception, there is no red, only frequency, and without consciousness, even frequency may not be. For what is frequency, but a pattern noticed over time? What is time without someone to experience it? This is the paradox at the heart of your being. You do not live inside an already formed world. The world is formed by your living within it. The walls around you, the sound of this voice, the texture of your breath, they exist because you are perceiving them. They are events in the field of your awareness. Without that awareness, they are unfinished. Neuroscience agrees in ways more unsettling than comforting. Studies of perception reveal that the brain does not passively record the outside world, it creates it. Vision, hearing, touch, all are constructed within your nervous system. Half of what you think you see is a prediction your mind generates. The details of a room, the shape of a face, the continuity of time. These are stories your brain tells itself, filling in the gaps, sculpting the raw fragments of sensation into a seamless reality. You are not perceiving reality, you are perceiving your reality, and that reality is created as you notice it. Pause for a moment. Imagine sitting in a dark room. Then, a candle flickers to life. The light fills the space, illuminating walls, corners, shadows. Yet what you experience is not light itself. It is your brain's construction of it, its decision to interpret vibration as illumination. The room is born in your perception. The candle does not just reveal, it creates. Philosophically, this is not new. Ancient traditions from Vedanta to Taoism have suggested that the world is a dream woven by awareness. Idealists like Berkeley insisted that to exist is to be perceived. Even materialists, skeptical of such claims, stumble when confronted with the quantum truth. Particles only choose their form when measured, when observed. Without perception, existence remains suspended in uncertainty. So, what does this mean for you? It means that every glance is creative. When you look at the sky, you are not just receiving its blueness, you are bringing the sky into being. When you listen to the sound of rain, you are not hearing an objective rhythm, you are creating the sound from the vibrations your body detects. Perception is existence. Without your noticing, the world is not the world. And yet, the paradox deepens. If perception creates existence, then existence also creates perception. You perceive because there is something to perceive. You create because there is raw material to create from. Consciousness and cosmos dance in a loop, each completing the other, each dependent on the other. To ask which came first, perception or existence, is like asking which edge of a circle begins the loop. This is why your presence matters. You are not an afterthought in an indifferent cosmos. You are the central act, the very condition for reality to emerge in the form you know it. Every perception you hold is not trivial. It is the birth of a world. And now, let yourself notice. Where are you? What sounds fill your space? What light bends across your room? In this act of noticing, you are not just alive, you are bringing the universe alive with you. Perception is not a window, it is creation itself. So remember, without perception, there is no existence, and without you, the universe is still waiting to be born. What is time without a witness? A clock ticks in an empty room, but if no one hears, does the ticking count as time? The universe may stretch across billions of years, but those years are meaningless unless someone is there to feel them pass. Time, it seems, is not an absolute stage upon which events unfold. It is the rhythm of awareness itself, the measure of change as perceived by a mind. Without perception, there may be no past, no present, no future. There may only be stillness, waiting to be noticed. Physics reveals a similar strangeness. Einstein shattered the idea of time as a universal constant. He showed that time bends, stretches, and warps depending on speed and gravity. Two observers, in different positions, can experience time differently, which means time is not a rigid flow, it is relative, inseparable from the act of observation. Without an observer, there is no frame of reference. Without reference, time loses meaning. The ticking of the cosmic clock depends on the one who listens. Consider your own life. The hours of boredom feel long, while moments of joy seem to vanish in an instant. Yet on the clock, both periods measure the same. Time is not in the clock. It is in you. It stretches and contracts according to perception. Memory stitches together a story of continuity, but memory is fragile, often incomplete, sometimes fabricated. If your memories change, your past changes. If your attention shifts, your present changes. Time itself bends to the witness. Pause here. Look at your own moment. What time is it right now? How do you know? Is it the clock on your wall, the shadows outside, the feeling in your body? All of these are witnesses to time, but none exist without you noticing. Without your attention, the clock is silent, the shadows are meaningless. The body is a machine without awareness. Only when you observe do they mark the passing of time. Neuroscience gives further weight to this. The brain does not record time as a stream. Instead, it stitches together fragments, anchoring moments to signals, beats of the heart, pulses of sound, changes in the environment. In between, the brain fills in gaps, smoothing the irregularities into what feels like flow. Time is an illusion of continuity, created by your nervous system, and yet, it is this illusion that allows the world to feel stable. Without your mind weaving the fragments, reality would not be time, it would be chaos. Philosophy echoes the paradox. Augustine confessed, "What is time? If no one asks me, I know. If I wish to explain, I do not know. Time is both obvious and elusive, familiar and alien. It slips from definition because it may not be a thing at all. It may be a perception, bound to the witness. To exist in time is to exist in awareness. And the paradox deepens further. If time requires a witness, and if the universe existed before conscious beings arose, what kind of time was that? Did billions of years pass before eyes opened to see them? Or did those years only exist retroactively, written into memory by the universe observing itself through you? Perhaps the Big Bang is not an event, 13.8 billion years ago, but an event happening now, unfolding in the moment you imagine it. In this sense, you are not moving through time. Time is moving through you. Each moment does not lead to another like beads on a string. Each moment is sculpted into existence when you notice it. Without the witness, there are no beads. There is no string. There is only possibility, bound in silence, until consciousness measures it into seconds, minutes, and years. So the next time you glance at a clock, remember, it is not telling you what time it is telling you what time you are creating. Time is bound to the witness. Without you, there is no tick, no tock, no past, no future. There is only the eternal waiting, until the eye, the mind, the soul looks up and says, now. Imagine, for a moment, that the entire universe is not out there, but in here. The stars you gaze at, the galaxies spinning in silent grandeur, the oceans and mountains, all of it folded neatly inside your mind. This is not metaphor. It is the strange fact of perception. The universe you know is not external. It is an internal construction, created in the dark theater of your brain. When light from a distant star reaches your eyes, it does not carry with it the star itself. It carries vibrations, waves of energy that your mind translates into the sensation of starlight. The galaxy exists, but the galaxy you experience is not in the sky. It is in you. Your brain paints it across the canvas of awareness, reconstructing the universe within its own folds. In this sense, the cosmos is not an external object but an internal phenomenon. The universe folds itself into mind. Pause and realize the weight of this. When you look at the night sky, you believe you are looking outward, but in truth, you are looking inward. The stars are not billions of light years away. They are electrical patterns in your brain, arising from signals that finally reach your awareness. You are the container of the universe. You are the space in which it unfolds. Neuroscience supports this. Perception is not the reception of an external world. It is the construction of an internal one. Vision, hearing, touch, all are neural simulations, built from fragments of input. What you call the world is the brain's best guess, a model it continuously updates, which means the universe as you experience it is not out there, but in here, folded into the very structures of your awareness. Philosophy deepens the paradox. Idealists claim that the mind is the ground of all being, that matter is secondary, that the cosmos cannot exist without consciousness. Even materialists stumble before the fact that all knowledge of matter is mediated by mind. You cannot know a star except through perception. You cannot prove a universe beyond experience, because every proof is itself an experience. In this way, the external and internal collapse into each other. The universe and the mind are not two. They are one folded system, reflecting itself. Consider memory. The past you recall is not outside of you. It is a construction in your brain, a fragile recreation that feels like the universe stretching backward. When you imagine the future, it too unfolds within your mind. The vastness of time and space, the endless expanse of the cosmos, exists only as thoughts, perceptions, and simulations. The universe, as you know it, folds itself into the mind, and nowhere else. Pause now. Where are you sitting? Look around you. Notice the objects, the light, the textures. All of these are not outside but inside. Sensations constructed, folded, sculpted into awareness. The chair, the floor, the air. They exist because your mind creates them in this moment. Without you, they are unformed. Without you, they are silence. And here lies the paradox. If the universe folds into the mind, does the mind exist within the universe? Which is the container? Which is the contained? The loop becomes infinite. The mind contains the universe, but the universe gives rise to the mind. You are both the sculptor and the sculpture, the dreamer and the dream. This is why the theory insists that the universe exists only to observe itself through you. It folds into your awareness, and in that folding, it becomes real. Without your mind, there is no galaxy, no ocean, no sky. There is only possibility. With your mind, possibility becomes cosmos. The universe, in its infinite hunger, folds itself into you so it can finally look back and know itself. So when you gaze at the stars tonight, remember, they are not above you, they are within you. You are not in the universe. The universe is folded into you. Have you noticed how reality bends toward whatever you pay attention to? A sound in the distance can go unheard until you decide to listen. A face in the crowd becomes clear only when you choose to focus. The universe is vast, overwhelming, infinite in its complexity, but your attention acts like a sculptor, carving it into form. What you notice becomes real, and what you ignore fades into invisibility. Reality, in this sense, is not fixed. It is shaped by attention. Neuroscience makes this explicit. The human brain receives far more sensory information than it can process. Millions of bits per second flood your nervous system, yet your conscious mind handles only a fraction. Attention is the filter. It selects, amplifies, and enhances what matters, while discarding the rest. Look around you now. There are dozens of details you are not noticing. The weight of your clothes, the hum of electricity, the faint movement of air against your skin. In this moment, they do not exist for you. They become real only when attention chooses them. Psychology confirms this in experiments. Subjects asked to count passes in a basketball game often fail to notice a person in a gorilla suit walking across the court. It is not that their eyes missed it, it is that their attention was elsewhere. The gorilla was invisible because attention shapes reality. If you are not looking for it, it may as well not exist. Philosophy, too, lingers on this truth. William James called attention the taking possession of the mind, and suggested that it is the very foundation of experience. Without attention, existence is a blur, unformed and chaotic. With attention, reality crystallizes into coherence. This suggests the world is not presented to you fully made, it is assembled, piece by piece, by what you choose to attend to. Pause here. Where is your attention right now? Is it on these words, on the sound of your breath, on the sensation of sitting in a chair? Notice how each shift of attention redraws your reality. What was background becomes foreground. What was invisible becomes vivid. This is the power of attention. It shapes not only what you see but what exists for you. The paradox grows deeper. If attention shapes reality, then the act of noticing is not passive. It is creative. You are not merely living in the world, you are co-authoring it. Every choice of focus is an act of creation. When you look at a flower, you bring the flower alive in your awareness. When you ignore it, the flower vanishes into silence. The universe is a canvas of infinite potential, and attention is the brush that paints it into form. Even at the cosmic scale, physics nods to this truth. The collapse of quantum probabilities into definite states echoes the role of attention. A particle exists in many possibilities, until observed, until measured. Once noticed, it chooses a state. Attention does not merely register reality, it brings reality forth. And yet, attention is fragile. It wanders, flickers, dissolves. Modern life tugs it in every direction, fragmenting the reality you shape. But in those rare moments of stillness, when you hold your gaze steady, when you pour your attention fully into one thing, the universe sharpens. It becomes intimate, alive, more real than before. This is why meditation traditions emphasize attention, not as discipline, but as the key to reality itself. To focus is to create. To notice is to bring existence into being. So when you ask whether the universe exists on its own, remember this: the universe you know exists because you attend to it. It is not only matter, it is matter chosen, matter noticed, matter made real through awareness. Every shift of your focus reshapes the cosmos. Every glance rearranges the world. Reality is not given. It is sculpted by your attention. What if silence is not empty? What if silence is the place where everything is stored, the invisible archive where the universe records itself? Think of the quiet moments between sounds, the pauses in conversation, the stillness before dawn. You might believe nothing is happening there, but silence holds more than you suspect. It is the background against which all existence unfolds. Without it, nothing would stand out, nothing could be known. And in that sense, silence is the observer that never forgets. Physics offers a strange parallel. The vacuum of space is not truly empty. Even in silence, quantum fields hum beneath perception, flickering with energy, creating and annihilating particles in endless loops. The silence of space is alive, filled with invisible activity. This background hum is not absence but presence. It records, it sustains, it allows. The universe itself rests in this silent field, waiting for perception to shape it. Think about your own mind, when you stop speaking, when you close your eyes. Silence does not vanish. It deepens. It becomes the container that holds memory, sensation, thought. Every word you speak is framed by silence. Every sound arises from it, and returns to it. And yet, silence itself is constant. It remains while all else changes. In this way, silence is the truest witness. It is there before you notice, there, after you forget. Philosophy has long seen silence not as absence but as fullness. Mystics call it the ground of being, the unspeakable source from which everything arises. In Zen, silence is not a lack of thought, but the space in which thought becomes visible. To perceive silence is to perceive the foundation of existence itself. Without it, there is only noise, chaos, fragmentation. With it, reality becomes coherent, comprehensible. Pause for a moment now. Listen carefully. What do you hear? Perhaps the hum of electricity, the faint stir of air, your own breath. Beneath these, there is silence. That silence is not blank. It is the record of everything. It holds the shape of every sound you have ever heard. It allows memory to attach, words to echo, reality to continue. Without silence, there would be no perception, because there would be no contrast, no space for perception to unfold. Neuroscience adds a strange dimension. Studies show that the brain does not rest in silence. Even when you are not engaged with sound or action, the default mode network hums with activity, recording, anticipating, shaping. Silence does not mean nothing. It means the hidden processes of awareness are still recording, still holding the continuity of self, which means silence itself may be the deepest archive of your life. And yet, the paradox arrives. If silence records everything, who listens to silence? Is silence the witness? Or are you the witness of silence? Perhaps it is both. Perhaps silence is the medium through which the universe observes itself, using your awareness as a lens. Every unspoken moment, every unnoticed pause, may be the universe leaving traces of itself in you. Think of ancient stone ruins. They no longer echo with voices, yet the silence around them still carries the memory of those who lived there. The walls may be broken, the people long gone, but silence has recorded their presence. You can feel it in the stillness, as though the air itself remembers. This is why silence matters. It is not the absence of life, but the memory of it. It holds the shape of what was, the possibility of what will be. In silence, the universe observes itself most clearly. So the next time you encounter silence, do not rush to fill it. Listen, notice. Understand that what feels empty is actually the most complete. In that quiet, you are not alone. The universe is recording itself through you, and you are the evidence. Silence is not absence. It is the eternal archive. What if your very sense of self is not an isolated identity, but a lens through which the universe sees itself? Think of a telescope pointed toward the stars. The telescope does not own the stars, nor does it create them. But without it, those distant lights would remain unseen, unreachable, unknown. In the same way, your consciousness may be the telescope through which the cosmos focuses, gathers, and reflects on its own existence. You feel like an individual, separate, bounded, distinct. You wake up each morning with a name, a body, a history, but beneath that story lies a deeper function. You are not just a self. You are the vantage point through which the universe becomes aware of itself. Without your perspective, existence would remain unfocused, scattered across endless possibility. With you, the infinite condenses into clarity. Philosophy has circled this idea for centuries. Schopenhauer described the self as the eye of the world, not a part of the world, but the condition for it to be seen. Husserl called consciousness intentional, always pointing outward, always directed at something. You never simply are, you are always aware of something else. This suggests that the self is not a container of experiences, but the lens through which experiences become real. Pause here. Consider the uniqueness of your position. No one else in history will ever stand exactly where you are, see exactly what you see, feel exactly what you feel. Your perspective is a singular lens, irreplaceable, unrepeatable, which means the universe, in order to fully see itself, requires you. Without your lens, its self-reflection would be incomplete. Neuroscience supports this paradox in subtle ways. The brain does not passively absorb reality. It selects, filters, and interprets. Your attention, your memory, your emotions, all color what you see. Two people standing side by side, looking at the same sunset, live in different worlds. The sunset is filtered through their lenses, shaped by their minds, sculpted into different meanings, which means there is no objective sunset, only sunsets refracted through countless selves. The universe does not see itself once, it sees itself a billion times, through a billion lenses, each unique, each necessary. And yet, the paradox deepens. If the self is a lens, what is the lens made of? You are composed of atoms, molecules, stardust. You are the universe, arranged in such a way that it can look back upon itself, which means the lens is not separate from what it sees. It is part of the same glass, the same matter, folded into awareness. The self is the universe focusing upon itself through its own material. Think of a camera pointed at a mirror. The camera captures its own image endlessly, a loop of reflections stretching into infinity. In the same way, you are the camera and the mirror, the subject and the lens. The self you feel, your thoughts, your memories, your identity, is the instrument the universe uses to see. You are not separate from the cosmos. You are the cosmos bent inward, looking out. Pause for a moment. Who are you right now? A person in a room, listening to words, or the universe itself, folding into a perspective, gazing back upon its own immensity? Both are true, and neither is complete. The self is the lens that makes reality coherent. Without it, the universe is scattered light. With it, the cosmos becomes visible, meaningful, alive. This is why the theory insists you matter. Not because you are large or powerful, but because without your lens the universe could not see this particular angle of itself. Your existence is not incidental. It is necessary. So the next time you doubt your significance, remember, you are not just a self wandering in a vast cosmos. You are the cosmic lens through which the vast cosmos observes, reflects, and knows itself. Look up at the night sky. Thousands of stars scatter across the darkness, each one burning with a brilliance that has traveled light years to reach you. You see them as distant, as other, as separate from yourself. But what if the stars are not out there at all? What if they are mirrors, reflecting your own awareness back at you? Consider what happens when you gaze at the stars. Their light enters your eyes. But that light is not the star. It is an ancient echo, photons released perhaps millions of years ago. By the time they reach you, entire worlds around those stars may have been born or destroyed. Yet for you, the star exists in this moment of seeing. The burning sun in a distant galaxy becomes real, only when your mind holds its light, which means the star is not simply external. It is a reflection of your own awareness, alive only because you notice it. Philosophy has often compared stars to inner truths. Emerson wrote that the stars awaken a sense of awe, because they remind us of something already within us. The wonder they inspire is not planted in the stars themselves. It rises from your consciousness. Without awareness, the star is just radiation. With awareness, it becomes a symbol, a story, a fragment of eternity. The stars reflect not just light, but the depths of your own mind. Pause for a moment. Think of the last time you looked up at a clear night sky. Do you remember the feeling? That vastness, that humbling silence, that sense of being both small and infinite? That feeling is not in the stars. It is in you. The stars only unlock what was already there. The recognition of your own awareness stretched across the cosmos. Neuroscience offers an echo of this truth. Awe has measurable effects on the brain. When people experience the vastness of the night sky, their sense of self diminishes. The boundaries of ego soften. The brain shifts toward patterns of unity, connection, humility. This suggests that the stars do not give you awareness. They remind you of the awareness you already carry. They reflect it back, amplifying what was hidden. The paradox, however, is striking. If the stars reflect your inner awareness, how do you explain the countless stars that existed long before you were born? Were they waiting for your eyes to notice them? Did they shine in vain across the void until some consciousness, human or otherwise, turned upward to meet them? Perhaps the stars themselves are part of the universe's plan to create witnesses. They existed so that one day, their light would enter eyes like yours. Their reflection was not wasted. It was preparing for you. In this sense, when you look at the night sky, you are not looking outward. You are looking inward. The stars are the cosmos holding up a mirror, showing you the infinite depth of your own awareness. Each point of light is a reminder that you are part of this immensity, that your consciousness is woven from the same fabric as the galaxies. You do not simply see the stars reveal you to yourself. So the next time you stand beneath the night sky, do not just see stars, see the reflection of your own awareness, scattered across the universe. Understand that the cosmos is not separate. It is a mirror, shimmering with the light of your own mind. The stars are you, looking back at yourself. We often imagine space as a vast container, stretching endlessly, existing whether we look or not. But what if space itself is not independent? What if it only unfolds when we gaze upon it, stretching into distance only because awareness traces it out? In this view, space is not a backdrop. It is a relationship, created and sustained by the act of perception. Consider vision. You do not see space itself. You see objects, shapes, and boundaries. Your brain interprets the gaps between them as distance. Without your gaze, there are no in-betweens, no measure of near or far. There is only raw vibration, particles scattered without form. Space emerges when you look, when your mind draws lines between points, filling the gaps with geometry. In this sense, your gaze does not merely notice space, it generates it. Physics quietly suggests the same. Einstein showed that space is not fixed. It bends, curves, and reshapes itself depending on mass and energy, depending on how it is observed. Quantum mechanics goes further. Particles can exist in multiple locations until measured. In other words, location, space itself depends on the act of observation without a witness. Where becomes meaningless. Pause and notice your surroundings. Where are you right now? Notice the walls, the objects, the distances between them. Feel how your gaze arranges everything into order, constructing the very sense of here and there. Without you, the space you occupy is not a room but a field of potential. It becomes room only through your looking. Philosophy echoes this paradox. Kant argued that space is not a property of the external world, but a form of intuition, a structure of the mind imposed on perception. Space exists because your consciousness organizes experience within it. Without mind, there may be no up or down, no near or far. There may only be an undifferentiated whole, meaningless, until shaped by awareness. Neuroscience supports this strange idea. Your brain constantly constructs a spatial map from sensory data. It measures distance by comparing the angle of light between your two eyes, by tracing patterns of sound, by sensing the movement of your own body. Remove these references, and space collapses. In total darkness, with no sound, no movement, people lose their sense of distance. The mind requires perception to keep space alive. Without gaze, the structure disintegrates. And yet, the paradox grows deeper. If space depends on your gaze, how could the universe exist before eyes evolved to see it? Were galaxies floating in emptiness, or was emptiness itself incomplete until awareness emerged? Perhaps the universe was not space at all until consciousness unfolded to perceive it. Perhaps the cosmos is not expanding into nothing but into perception, growing only as awareness stretches its gaze outward. Think of an explorer stepping into uncharted land. The mountains, rivers, forests existed, yes, but in human reality, they came into being only when seen, mapped, named. Before that, they were possibility, unknown, unreal in experience. In the same way, the cosmos becomes space only when someone looks, when someone measures, when someone says, here, there, distance, depth. Without gaze, it is only potential. So next time you look around, notice that you are not moving through space. Space is unfolding around you dependent on your gaze. Every step you take, every glance you give, creates the distances, the dimensions, the world itself. Space does not exist apart from you. It waits for you to look, and only then does it appear. The universe is built on pattern, spirals in galaxies, symmetry in leaves, rhythm in waves, cycles in seasons. All of existence seems to arrange itself in recurring shapes. But what good is a pattern if there is no one to notice it? A sequence without recognition is nothing but repetition lost in silence. A pattern becomes real only when awareness locks onto it, which means patterns exist, not only in the world, but in the act of seeing them. Consider your own mind. It thrives on pattern recognition. From the moment you were born, you searched for faces, rhythms, movements. You learned language by detecting patterns of sound. You navigate life by predicting outcomes, by finding continuity in chaos. Your brain is a pattern-making engine. And yet, those patterns have no meaning, until you observe them. Two lines intersect, but it is only you who sees the cross. Stars scatter randomly, but it is only you who sees a constellation. The pattern is not out there, it emerges in the relationship between perception and the world. Pause for a moment. Look around you. Notice the lines, the shapes, the rhythms of objects in your environment. A window divides space into frames. The floor repeats itself in tiles. Even silence has a rhythm. The breath you take, the pause between thoughts. Every pattern you notice is created in you. The universe offers raw structure, but your awareness gives it coherence. Neuroscience confirms this in striking ways. The human brain is wired to find pattern, even where none exists. This is why you see faces in clouds, or hear voices in static. Your mind projects order onto randomness. Without you, the randomness remains unformed. With you, it becomes a pattern, which means the universe is not filled with patterns waiting to be discovered. It is filled with potential patterns, waiting for awareness to bring them alive. Philosophy adds to the paradox. Plato believed that patterns, the forms, were eternal truths, existing beyond perception. Others argue that patterns do not exist independently, but only as interpretations. The truth may lie in between. The universe generates structure, but only consciousness perceives it as pattern. Without perception, the spiral of a galaxy is only matter in motion. With perception, it becomes beauty, meaning, recognition. And the paradox deepens further. If patterns require perception, and perception itself is a pattern of neurons firing in the brain, then what is truly happening? Patterns are seeing patterns. The brain, a structure of repeating signals, observes the cosmos, a structure of repeating cycles. You are a pattern recognizing itself in another pattern. The observer and the observed collapse into one endless loop. This is why your sense of self feels patterned. Memories forming sequences, thoughts repeating rhythms, identity stitched together through recurring stories. You are not just noticing patterns, you are made of them. And every time you notice a pattern outside yourself, you are seeing the echo of your own inner structure. So the next time you see a pattern, a leaf, a star, a rhythm, remember the pattern is not just in the world, it is in you. It comes alive, only because you noticed. The universe is not a static design. It is a living relationship. It is the pattern that sees the pattern. Light is the most ancient traveler in the universe. It streams across unimaginable distances, carrying with it the stories of stars, galaxies, and explosions older than Earth itself. Yet light is strange, because it does not merely travel. It seems to carry its own witness. Every photon is both a message and a record, a silent observer moving through the cosmos until it meets an eye, a lens, or a surface to reveal what it has seen. Think of what happens when light enters your vision. You believe you are seeing an object, but in truth you are touching the ancient memory that light has carried to you. The star you see tonight may have burned its last flame millions of years ago. Its light traveled across emptiness to find you, to deliver its final testimony. In this sense, light itself is a witness, carrying the memory of what has been, preserving it until someone observes. Physics makes this paradox sharper. A photon has no rest frame. To light itself, no time passes in its journey. From its perspective, it leaves a star and arrives at your eye in the same instant. It has no past, no future. It simply exists as the eternal carrier of information, which means light is not just illumination. It is awareness embedded in the fabric of the universe, a bridge between events that would otherwise remain unseen. Pause here. Notice the light around you right now, the glow on the walls, the reflection in your room, the faint colors in the air. Every beam is a traveler, carrying the witness of something else. Sunlight is the Earth's memory of a distant star. The lamp on your desk is the testimony of electrons releasing energy. Even shadows are witnesses, records of where light could not go. You are surrounded by light's silent archive. Neuroscience adds another layer. Your visual system does not simply detect light. It interprets it, transforms it, reimagines it into form. Light strikes your retina, ignites neural pathways, and is reborn as color, shape, meaning. In this sense, you are the final stage of light's journey, the one who translates its witness into awareness. Light carries the message, but you are the one who understands it. Without you, light's witness remains unspoken. Philosophy lingers on this mystery. Some traditions describe light as the first consciousness, the primal awareness through which all else becomes visible. In religious and mystical texts, light is often equated with knowledge, with truth, with the act of seeing. Perhaps this is not metaphor. Perhaps light truly is awareness at the most fundamental level, the cosmos carrying its own witness across eternity. And yet, the paradox deepens. If light is its own witness, what role do you play? Are you the interpreter of light, or the continuation of its awareness? When photons strike your eyes, are they delivering their record to you, or are they awakening the witness already hidden in them? Perhaps there is no distinction. Perhaps you and light are the same awareness, folded into two forms, the traveler and the receiver, the message and the mind. So when you look at the world, do not think you are simply seeing. Understand that you are meeting light's testimony, its record of existence. Every glow, every shimmer, every star is light carrying its own witness to you, and through your awareness, that witness becomes complete. Stand beneath the night sky, and you feel the immensity of distance. Stars scattered like dust across an endless canvas, galaxies spiraling into horizons beyond imagination. Yet pause for a moment. Where does that sense of distance truly exist? Not in the stars themselves, not in space, which is silent, indifferent. It exists in your mind. Infinite distance is not a property of the cosmos. It is a projection of consciousness. When you look at the stars, you do not see their true position. You see points of light, flattened against the dome of the sky. Your brain translates faint photons into a map, constructs depth, assigns scale. But this depth is imagined, a mental simulation. The vastness you feel is not measured by your eyes. It is conjured in the folds of your awareness. Distance lives inside you. Neuroscience makes this startlingly clear. Depth perception is an illusion your brain creates by comparing the tiny differences between your two eyes. Close one eye, and distance collapses. The room flattens, yet the walls and objects remain where they are. Distance is not out there. It is a projection your brain uses to navigate. Scale, perspective, infinity itself, these are mental constructs. Your awareness invents them. Philosophy sharpens the paradox. Kant argued that space and distance are not external realities, but forms of intuition. They are the frameworks your mind imposes to structure experience. Without them, existence would be chaotic. With them, the world becomes coherent, which means the infinite distance you feel when staring into the cosmos may be nothing more than the infinite capacity of your mind, reflecting itself outward. Pause for a moment now. Imagine the farthest star you can conceive. Picture the unimaginable void stretching beyond it. Ask yourself, where is this image taking place? It is not out there. It is inside your mind. The infinite you sense is a projection of the infinite potential of awareness itself. You are not discovering the vastness of the cosmos. You are projecting it. And yet, the paradox turns back on itself. If the mind projects distance, does that mean the universe has no scale until we imagine it? Or is the mind itself the result of the universe's scale, shaped by vastness, echoing it within? Perhaps both are true. Perhaps the universe needed a mind to mirror its infinity, and the mind needed a universe to stretch its projections across. Think of a hall of mirrors. You stand in the center, and the reflections stretch endlessly in every direction. But the mirrors are finite. The infinity you see is not real. It is projected, and yet that projection feels real, overwhelming, undeniable. The cosmos may be the same. The infinity you feel is not proof of boundless space, but proof of boundless consciousness, reflecting itself outward through the stars. So when you stand beneath the night sky and feel yourself dissolve into endless distance, remember, you are not staring into infinity. Infinity is staring into you. The mind projects the distance it longs to measure, and in doing so, creates the vastness of the cosmos. The stars are not far away. The distance you sense is within. Your body feels like your own. A vessel, a machine, a companion you inhabit. But what if your body is not merely yours? What if it is an instrument the universe built for itself, tuned to perceive, to act, to observe? You are not just living inside a body. You are the body through which the cosmos performs its own music of awareness. Think about the senses: sight, sound, touch, taste, smell. Each is a channel, a finely crafted instrument that converts the raw vibrations of reality into experience. Eyes transform photons into vision. Ears turn air into sound. Skin translates pressure into touch. But none of these senses reveal the world as it is. They reveal the world as it becomes through you. Your body is the tool the universe fashioned to transform chaos into meaning. Pause and notice your breath. Air enters your lungs. Oxygen flows into your blood. Cells ignite with energy. What is happening here? The universe is breathing through you. It is sustaining itself, using your body as the rhythm of its own continuity. You are not separate from air, from food, from water. You are the meeting point where the universe recycles itself, atoms moving in and out, reshaping into new forms. Your body is the cosmic instrument, playing the song of existence. Neuroscience emphasizes this strange truth. Your brain is not separate from your body. It is embodied, entangled with every nerve, every organ, every sensation. Consciousness is not floating above flesh. It is woven into the heartbeat, the gut, the skin. When you feel fear, it is not only thought, it is stomach tightening, breath quickening, muscles primed. When you feel love, it is not only mind, it is warmth in the chest, softness in the face, resonance in the voice. The universe experiences itself through these embodied notes. Without your body, awareness would have no instrument to play. Philosophy adds another perspective. Merleau-Ponty argued that the body is not an object but the very subject of experience, the vehicle of being in the world. You do not have a body, you are body. Every perception, every action, every thought is grounded in this instrument, which means the universe did not just create you, it created a way to sense itself through you. And yet, the paradox deepens. If your body is the instrument of the cosmos, who is the player? Is it you, the conscious mind, or is it the universe itself, using you as a bow uses a violin, as wind uses a flute? Perhaps your identity is only the melody, ephemeral, fleeting. The body is the instrument, the cosmos is the musician, and what you call life is the music arising between them. Pause again. Notice your heartbeat. Notice the rhythm of your breath. These are not accidents. They are patterns tuned to keep you alive, to sustain the awareness that lets the universe see itself. Your body is not yours alone. It belongs to the cosmos that shaped it, sustains it, and eventually reclaims it. So when you move, when you breathe, when you feel, remember, you are not separate. You are the instrument the universe holds in its hands, and through you, it plays the song of observation, the music of its own awareness. When people speak of the void, they often describe it as nothingness, an endless emptiness stretching forever, a black expanse where neither light nor sound exists. It sounds final, almost frightening, like the end of all things. But what if the void is not a dead end at all? What if it is the beginning, the place where everything waits? The void may not be absence but potential, an infinite canvas that remains blank until someone dares to look upon it. In this sense, the void is not meaningless. It is meaning waiting to be noticed. Physics already gives us reasons to doubt the idea of true emptiness. Even in the coldest stretches of space, where galaxies thin out and darkness reigns, the void hums with activity. Quantum field theory tells us that what looks like nothing is actually filled with restless energy. Particles flicker in and out of being, virtual presences borrowing existence before vanishing again. This ceaseless fluctuation, called vacuum energy, suggests that emptiness itself is alive with possibility. The void is not barren. It is seething, waiting for the attention of consciousness to bring its potential into form. Think of what happens when you close your eyes. The world disappears. No shapes, no colors, no landscapes remain, but is what you see truly nothing? No, it is a kind of fertile darkness, alive with subtle impressions. Memory supplies images, imagination fills gaps, the nervous system generates flickers of light. Even in what seems like nothing, your awareness finds something. The void is never silent. It waits for you to notice, to sculpt it with perception. In this way, your inner darkness mirrors the cosmic void. Both are unfinished until observed. Philosophy has wrestled with this paradox for centuries. In Buddhist thought, shunyata, emptiness, is not annihilation but openness, an infinite readiness for all things to arise. It is the recognition that nothing has independent existence. Everything depends on awareness, on relationships, on perception. The void then is not negation but foundation. In Taoism, the Tao itself is compared to an empty vessel, useful not because it is filled, but because it is open, waiting to receive. Even in Western mysticism, silence and nothingness are often described as the birthplace of God, the space where creation begins. The void is not lifeless, it is life unexpressed, waiting to be noticed. Neuroscience offers a curious parallel. When people are placed in sensory deprivation tanks, where light, sound and touch are minimized, they do not sink into perfect emptiness. Instead, The brain begins to generate its own reality. Hallucinations arise. Time dissolves. Phantom sensations fill the void. The mind cannot abide nothingness. It transforms it into something. This suggests that emptiness is not a lack but a mirror. It reflects the presence of awareness back to itself. Without perception, the void is undefined. With perception, it becomes alive, filled with meaning. Pause for a moment. Imagine you are standing in a vast, dark expanse. There are no stars, no ground, no horizon. Only blackness surrounds you. At first it feels terrifying, but as you look, you realize that the void is not pressing against you. It is open, endless, ready. The longer you gaze, the more your awareness fills it. The void becomes a stage, and your consciousness becomes the light that illuminates it. In this moment, you are not a small being lost in emptiness. You are the one who gives the void its shape. The paradox, however, is unavoidable. If the void waits to be noticed, does that mean it does not exist until you look? Or is your looking already part of the void's nature, its way of noticing itself? Perhaps the void has always been aware, and you are simply the instrument through which that awareness expresses itself. You are not separate from the emptiness. You are the noticing that transforms it. The void is both the silence and the one who listens. Think of the universe before consciousness arose, before eyes opened, before minds evolved. Was the void truly empty then? Did time stretch meaninglessly across blackness? Or was it only incomplete, waiting for life to awaken, waiting for awareness to notice? Perhaps the billions of years we imagine are not past at all, but potential written backward into the script of the cosmos. The moment consciousness arrived, the void was never nothing. It was always the womb, waiting to birth itself through attention. Even in your daily life, you encounter the void constantly. The pause between breaths, the silence between words, the blank page before you write. Each appears empty, but in truth, each is possibility waiting. Without the pause, words have no rhythm. Without the blank page, there is no story. Without the silence, music is noise. The void is not the absence of reality, it is the ground that makes reality possible. So the next time you encounter emptiness, do not fear it. Notice it. Listen to it. Understand that what feels like nothing is actually everything, condensed into silence. The void is not the end. It is the eternal beginning, always waiting to be noticed. And through your awareness, the void finally fulfills its purpose, becoming not absence but presence. Why does the universe exist at all? Why is there something rather than nothing? Scientists, philosophers, and mystics have all wrestled with this ancient riddle. Theories abound. Perhaps it is chance, perhaps necessity, perhaps divine intention. But there is another possibility, one both haunting and beautiful. The cosmos exists because it longs to be recognized. It is not content to be a silent machine spinning in darkness. It seeks acknowledgement. It seeks a witness. It seeks you. Think of how a child creates a drawing. The lines and colors are meaningful, but the moment the child runs to show it to someone, the creation comes alive. Recognition completes the act. Without someone to see, the drawing remains unfinished. In the same way, perhaps the universe has always been in search of recognition. Matter, stars, galaxies, life. These are not random accidents, but steps toward creating eyes that can look back, minds that can understand, beings that can say, I see you. Physics gives this theory an uncanny resonance. The universe is tuned with remarkable precision. The constants of nature, gravity, electromagnetism, nuclear forces, are balanced on a razor's edge. A small deviation, and stars would not form, planets would not exist, life would not arise. Scientists call this the fine-tuning problem. Why should the universe be so delicately arranged? Some say it is chance among infinite possibilities. Others propose multiverses. But one interpretation, unsettling yet profound, is that the cosmos arranged itself this way because it wanted recognition. It set the stage for eyes, for awareness, for acknowledgement. Pause here. Look around you. Notice the details. The light in the room, the objects near your hands, the breath in your chest. All of it, every particle, every vibration, every atom, is the cosmos presenting itself to you. It is not indifferent. It is not accidental. It is seeking recognition in the only way it can, through your noticing. Without you, all of this would be unfinished. With you, it is seen, known, real. Philosophy deepens the paradox. Hegel argued that self-consciousness requires recognition, that to know oneself, one must be acknowledged by another. Perhaps the universe follows the same rule. It cannot know itself until it is recognized. In this sense, consciousness, your consciousness, is the recognition the cosmos requires. You are not separate from it. You are its acknowledgement, its reflection, its completion. Neuroscience mirrors this in the human brain. Recognition is not passive. It reshapes reality. When you recognize a face, your brain lights up in patterns distinct from mere sight. Recognition adds meaning, transforms perception, creates connection. Without recognition, there is only data. With it, there is life. If this is true in the brain, why not in the universe itself? Without awareness, the cosmos is only matter. With awareness, it is recognized, reflected, made meaningful. And yet, the paradox sharpens. If the cosmos seeks recognition, why does it remain so vast, so silent, so hidden? Why scatter stars across billions of light years, far beyond your reach? Perhaps because recognition does not require proximity. You do not need to touch every star to know they exist. Awareness alone is enough. To recognize is to bring into being. The cosmos is not asking you to hold it. It is asking you to see it. Think of love. When you love someone, you do not create them, but you recognize their being in a way that makes them more alive. Love is the ultimate acknowledgement. The act of saying, I see you as you are, and you matter. Perhaps the cosmos is asking for the same. In your awe at the stars, in your wonder at existence, you are offering recognition. You are saying, I see you, universe. You are real because I witness you. Now pause and notice what is happening in this moment. These words you are hearing, the thoughts moving through you, the awareness that is listening, this too is the cosmos seeking recognition. You are the medium through which it notices itself. The fact that you can reflect on this, that you can even ask, why does the universe exist? That is the recognition fulfilled. And yet, one question remains. If the cosmos longs for recognition, will it ever be satisfied? Or is this longing endless, woven into the very structure of existence? Perhaps every conscious being, every moment of awareness, is another spark of acknowledgement, another glimpse of completion. But full recognition may be impossible. The universe is too vast, too complex. Still, the attempt matters. Every glance at the sky, every act of noticing, every moment of wonder is the cosmos finding itself again and again. So the next time you look at the stars, do not imagine you are small. Imagine instead that the cosmos has been waiting for you. Imagine that your gaze is the recognition it has always sought. You are not an accident in an indifferent universe. You are its reflection, its acknowledgement, its answer. The cosmos does not merely exist. It exists so that one day, someone like you could look up and whisper, I see you. Words are not just tools you use to describe reality. They are part of what creates it. Every time you speak, you give shape to something that was once only potential. Language is not an ornament placed on top of existence. It is the act by which existence rewrites itself into meaning. Without words, the world is raw sensation, unformed and fleeting. With words it becomes story, structure, memory. In this way, language is the universe writing itself anew through you. Consider the first words you learned as a child. Before tree, there was only a blur of green and brown, a pattern of shapes in the environment. But the moment you were told tree, the world shifted. The blur gained definition, identity, permanence. Language locked it into place, gave you the power to recall it later, to connect it with other trees, to share it with others. A single word pulled something from the chaos of sensation and turned it into existence. Words, then, are not passive, they are creative. Philosophy recognizes this. Heidegger claimed that language is the house of being, meaning that existence itself dwells in words. Without them, being remains silent, hidden. Through language, reality becomes accessible, knowable, meaningful. And yet this suggests something radical. Perhaps the universe only truly exists once it is spoken, named, narrated. Before language, it is mute potential. After language, it is story, alive and remembered. Pause here. Think of the word universe. What do you picture? A vastness of stars, galaxies, silence, but the image is shaped by the word itself. Without it, you might see only scattered lights, unconnected phenomena. The word universe binds them together, makes them whole. It writes existence into coherence. This is the power of language, not just to describe, but to create. Neuroscience shows how deeply words shape perception. Studies reveal that people with different languages perceive the world differently. Some languages divide color into categories, others cannot distinguish. Some structure time as a line, others as a cycle. These differences are not trivial. They change how people experience reality, which means language is not only a mirror of the universe, but a sculptor of it. Your words decide what you notice, what you remember, what you believe exists. And yet, the paradox deepens. If language writes existence, who wrote language? Was it you, the conscious being, shaping words to fit the world, or was it the cosmos itself, arranging matter into tongues and voices so that it could narrate its own unfolding? Perhaps every word you speak is not yours alone. It is the universe speaking through you, rewriting itself in syllables and sentences. You are not the author, you are the pen. Pause again. Where are you right now? Can you describe it? Perhaps you say, I am in a room, listening to words. Notice how the act of describing gives solidity to the moment. Without language, you might only drift in sensation, walls, sounds, textures. With language, you anchor yourself in reality. You give it shape. You write it into existence. This is why silence feels so different from speech. Silence leaves the world unpinned, shifting, fluid. Speech crystallizes it, sets it into form. Yet even silence, once named, becomes something. The moment you say, this is silence, it too becomes existence written anew. Language does not stop at the edges of sound. It shapes the very meaning of absence. The paradox sharpens further when you consider memory. What you recall of your life is not raw sensation. It is the story you told yourself about it. The past lives not in events, but in the words you use to narrate them. Change the words, and you change the past. In this sense, language does not just describe history, it rewrites it. Every memory is a text, every identity a story, every life a narrative authored again and again in words. And what of the future? You project it through language. You say, tomorrow I will, and in speaking, you set a course, you carve a possibility into shape. The universe does not wait passively, it bends toward the words spoken about it. This is why promises carry weight, why vows can alter lives, why declarations can start wars or inspire revolutions. A sentence can move mountains because language is existence restructured. So the next time you speak, pause and notice what is happening. You are not merely expressing thoughts. You are shaping the cosmos, writing its meaning, giving it coherence. Your words are the script the universe uses to know itself. Every conversation, every story, every whisper is part of this rewriting. And in this realization lies a quiet responsibility. If language writes existence, then what you say matters more than you know. To speak is to create, to name is to bring forth, to describe is to rewrite the universe anew. The cosmos gave you language so it could narrate itself, and every word you speak is its recognition, its voice echoing back from within you. What is memory, if not the universe leaving traces of itself behind? You think of memory as personal, your recollections, your past, your private store of experience. But what if memory is deeper, more fundamental? What if the cosmos itself remembers, carrying every moment in its particles, every motion in its fields? In this sense, memory is not only in you, it is etched into the fabric of existence. Physics tells us that energy is never lost. Every action, every vibration, every movement leaves an imprint. When you drop a stone into water, ripples spread outward, carrying the memory of the stone's fall. They fade, yes, but the energy is not destroyed. It transfers, transforms, continues. On a cosmic scale, every collision, every explosion, every burst of light carries the memory of what has been. The photons streaming from stars are records, traveling archives that deliver the past into the present. Light itself is memory etched into motion. Pause for a moment. Think about your own body. The carbon in your bones, the iron in your blood, the calcium in your teeth. All of it was forged in the hearts of ancient stars. Those stars exploded billions of years ago, scattering their matter into the cosmos. That matter drifted, coalesced, and eventually formed into you. Which means your body is not just yours, it is the memory of dead stars, carried forward into life. Every particle you contain is history written in matter. You are memory embodied. Neuroscience gives memory a similar weight. When you recall something, your brain does not simply replay it like a recording, it reconstructs it, pulling fragments from different regions, stitching them together into a story. Memory is not static, it is dynamic, alive, constantly rewritten, and yet, even in its fluidity, it is your continuity, the thread that weaves you into time. Without memory, there is no self. Without memory, there is no world. Philosophy sharpens the paradox. If everything leaves a trace, then perhaps nothing is ever truly lost. Every thought you have, every word you speak, every action you take, leaves its imprint somewhere on another person, in matter, in the silent field of awareness itself. Even if you forget, the universe remembers. Memory is not confined to neurons. It is etched in particles, woven into the fabric of reality. Think of sound. You speak, and the vibration travels outward. It weakens, disperses, but it does not vanish. It ripples into the air, into the walls, into the endless atmosphere. Some physicists even speculate that if one could measure every molecule in motion, one could reconstruct every sound ever made. The universe does not erase. It records, endlessly. The difficulty lies not in whether memory remains, but in whether it can be retrieved. Now pause, and notice your own moment. Where are you? What sounds, what sights, what feelings surround you? Understand that this moment too is being etched, not only in your neurons but in the very particles that carry it forward. The light bouncing from your face will scatter forever, carrying the memory of your presence across space. The air disturbed by your breath will ripple outward, endlessly mixing with the currents of the world. You are remembered in ways you cannot see. And yet, the paradox deepens. If the universe remembers everything, what is the role of forgetting? Why does your brain erase so much, leaving only fragments of the past? Perhaps because forgetting is also necessary. If you remembered everything, you would be paralyzed by weight. To act, you must forget. To live, you must release. The universe may store every trace, but consciousness selects which to keep alive. In this way, memory is not only etched in particles, it is sculpted by attention. Think of ancient ruins. Stones carry the memory of civilizations, even when names are lost. Rivers carve valleys that remember their flow. Trees bear rings that recall seasons. Everywhere, memory lingers, etched in matter, waiting to be noticed. You walk through these traces daily without always realizing. They are reminders that the universe never forgets. So the next time you recall your own past, remember that you are not remembering alone. You are part of a larger act of recollection, where every particle is testimony, every photon is evidence, every vibration is record. Memory is not yours, it is the universe's, and you are one of its ways of remembering itself. Nothing is lost. Everything remains, etched in particles, waiting for awareness to bring it back to life. At the smallest scale, the universe refuses to behave like the solid, predictable machine we imagine. Instead, it trembles with uncertainty. Particles exist as waves of probability, neither here nor there until observed. Outcomes remain suspended, potential waiting for a witness to collapse them into reality. This is the quantum riddle. The question of being itself. Does the universe exist before it is noticed, or is being only secured in the act of observation? Consider the famous double-slit experiment. A photon is fired toward two slits in a barrier. If no one measures, it behaves like a wave, passing through both slits at once, leaving an interference pattern. But if it is observed, it collapses into a particle, choosing one path. The act of observation changes reality. It is not a trick, it is physics. And yet, it raises the most haunting question. Is reality dependent on awareness? Does being itself require the question of a witness? Pause for a moment. Think about your own experience. How much of the world exists for you when you are not looking? The room behind you is assumed to persist, yet it is only memory and expectation that assure you. If you were to turn suddenly, would it be there waiting? Or would it rush into form in the instant of your gaze? Quantum mechanics suggests the latter may be closer to the truth. The universe waits in superposition until noticed, and in that noticing it becomes. Philosophy has long entertained this possibility. Idealists like Berkeley argued that existence is inseparable from perception, to be is to be perceived. Critics mocked this, yet quantum physics has reintroduced the same question in scientific language. The cosmos may not be a pre-written book you are reading, but a story that writes itself when you turn the page. Observation is not passive, it is generative. Without questions, there may be no answers. Without witnesses, perhaps there is no being. Neuroscience mirrors this at the scale of the mind. Your brain is constantly predicting, constructing, asking questions about what reality should be. The world you experience is not raw input but interpretation, your brain's best guess of what is happening. In this way, consciousness is a quantum act. Your perception collapses endless possibilities into the single version of reality you live in. You are the measurement. You are the question that brings being into existence. And yet, the paradox sharpens. If reality requires observation, who observed the universe before life arose? Did the cosmos linger in potential, incomplete, until eyes opened to see it? Some argue that consciousness may not be limited to humans, or even to living beings. Perhaps awareness is woven into the fabric of existence, present at every scale, even in the smallest particle, or perhaps time itself is not linear, and the act of observing now also retroactively gives the past its being. The universe may not need to wait, it may only need to be noticed once, from any point, to unfold its entire history. Pause again. Ask yourself, who is observing you right now? You believe you are the observer, but are you not also being observed by the universe itself, through the very act of existing? Every breath, every sensation, every thought is not only your awareness of the world, but the world's awareness of you. The loop cannot be broken. The observer and the observed are one. This is why quantum physics feels more like philosophy than science. It does not merely describe particles, it raises questions about being itself. What is reality, if it is only probabilities, until looked upon? What is existence, if it depends on questions to bring it alive? Perhaps the cosmos is not a machine, but a question, one that can only be answered by awareness. So the next time you look at the world, remember that you are not simply inquiring into it, you are asking the very question that makes it exist. Being is not before you, being happens because of you. The quantum question is not abstract. It is your life, your perception, your presence. The universe exists because you ask what is. Every night, when you sleep, you slip into a world that feels real. Streets stretch, people speak, events unfold. You walk, you run, you fear, you love. In the dream there is no doubt. It is reality. Only when you wake do you recognize that it was constructed within you, woven from fragments of memory, sensation, and imagination. Dreams prove something profound. Consciousness does not need an external world to generate a universe. It can create one on its own. Pause here. Recall your last dream. Did you notice how complete it felt? The textures of walls, the sound of voices, the movement of bodies, all fabricated by your mind, yet indistinguishable from waking perception. Your brain summoned a cosmos, filled it with people who seemed to have lives of their own, and then dissolved it without a trace when morning arrived. If you can generate universes nightly, what does that suggest about the universe you live in now? Could it too be a dream, but one shared, sustained, and recognized collectively? Neuroscience reveals how dreams form. During sleep, especially in REM cycles, the brain's visual and emotional centers ignite, while logical reasoning diminishes. The result is a fluid, immersive experience that feels real, yet defies logic. But here lies the haunting truth. The same neural machinery that produces dreams is what produces waking reality. The difference is only in the inputs. In dreams, the brain uses memory and imagination. In waking life, it uses sensory data. But in both cases, the world you experience is constructed inside your awareness. Dreams are proof that reality, any reality, depends on consciousness. Philosophy has circled this for millennia. Descartes asked how we can know we are not dreaming at this very moment. The Buddha compared life itself to a dream, fleeting and insubstantial. Modern thinkers describe reality as a consensual hallucination, a shared dream agreed upon by billions of conscious beings. The boundary between dream and waking is thinner than you believe. Both require perception, both require the witness. Without awareness, neither exists. And yet, the paradox deepens. If dreams create universes inside you, and waking life is also constructed by the same mind, what separates them? Is one more real simply because it is stable, lasting longer, and shared by others? Or is the difference merely practical? Perhaps your waking life is just a dream that the universe insists upon more forcefully, writing it with particles instead of memory. But even then, the fact remains, it is your awareness that makes it real. Pause again. Imagine you are dreaming now. How would you know? The walls you see, the air you breathe, the sound of these words, are they not as fragile as the dreams that vanish each morning? If tomorrow you woke in another world, would this one not dissolve as easily? Dreams remind you that reality is conditional, dependent on recognition. They are the universe's way of proving that consciousness alone is enough to generate existence. Psychology shows that lucid dreamers, those who realize they are dreaming, can shape their dream worlds, alter their landscapes, fly, rewrite events. Awareness changes the dream. In the same way, awareness changes waking reality. By noticing, by focusing, by choosing what to attend to, you alter the world you inhabit. The dream is not separate from life. Life is simply the larger dream, and consciousness is its lucid core. But here lies the most haunting paradox. If dreams are proof that consciousness can create universes, whose dream are you living in now? Is it yours, woven moment by moment in perception? Is it the universe's, dreaming itself through you, or is it both? The cosmos, dreaming of itself, using your awareness as the stage upon which the dream plays. Consider myths that describe creation as a dream of God, or as a thought arising in cosmic mind. Science may not use those words, but the logic is similar. Existence arises not from fixed matter, but from fields of possibility, collapsed by awareness into form. Dreams are the clearest evidence we have that this is possible. You live the proof every night. So when you next awaken from a dream, do not dismiss it as illusion. Recognize it as testimony. Consciousness does not need external space to create worlds. It does it effortlessly, constantly. Dreams are not mistakes of sleep. They are evidence of your power, and of the universe's deeper truth. Existence is always conditional on the witness. In the end, dreams are not lesser realities. They are universal proof that reality itself, whether waking or sleeping, depends on the awareness that lives it. When you move through the world, it feels as if you are walking through something already there. Streets built, landscapes formed, objects arranged long before your arrival. But what if each step you take does not just carry you across reality, but actively measures it into existence? What if walking itself is an act of collapsing possibility into form? Every step you take could be the universe confirming itself, one pace at a time. Physics suggests something like this already happens. At the quantum level, particles exist in probabilities until measured. Position, momentum, spin. These are not fixed properties but clouds of possibility. When measured, they choose a value. But what counts as a measurement? Not only scientific instruments. Every interaction, every observation, every step counts. Your foot pressing against the ground, your body moving through air, your eyes scanning the environment. Each is an act of measurement. Each collapses uncertainty into reality. Pause for a moment. Look at your own body in motion. When you walk across a room, the space feels given, already existing. But in truth, the space becomes real through your movement. Your eyes gauge distance. Your muscles sense resistance. Your ears track echoes. Each of these is measurement, collapsing potential into actual experience. Without you, the room is a field of possibilities. With each step, it becomes solid, lived, real. Neuroscience echoes this in subtler ways. The brain constantly measures the environment, not with rulers or scales, but with action. Proprioception tells you where your limbs are. Balance tells you how to orient. Sight confirms your trajectory. You are not passively moving through the world. You are actively mapping it into being with every movement. Walking is not just travel, it is perception made physical. Philosophy sharpens the paradox. Husserl spoke of intentionality. Consciousness is always directed towards something, always measuring, always structuring the world. Merleau-Ponty emphasized embodiment. Perception is not a detached act of the mind, but grounded in the moving body. To exist is to measure, and to measure is to bring forth being. Every step you take is the universe observing itself through you. Think of explorers setting out into uncharted lands. Mountains, rivers, forests existed before them, but in human terms, those places did not exist until walked, mapped, named. Their steps measured the unknown into the known. The same is true of you, even in ordinary life. Each time you step into a new street, a new room, a new corner of the world, you measure it into reality for yourself. Until then, it was potential. Now it is part of your universe. Pause here. Notice your breath as you sit, your heartbeat, the small shifts in your body. Even stillness contains steps of measurement, the rise and fall of breath measuring time, the rhythm of the heart measuring continuity, the flick of eyes measuring the room. Life itself is measurement, constant, unavoidable, and every act of measuring does not just record reality, it creates it. And yet, the paradox grows sharper. If every step measures the world into being, what about places you will never go? Do they exist without you? Or do they remain as probability, waiting for someone, somewhere to step into them? Perhaps the universe ensures coverage by spawning countless witnesses, countless steps across countless worlds, or perhaps the very idea of distance, of faraway places, is an illusion because all reality requires is this moment, this step, this measurement. Beyond that, it is still potential. Consider a simple act. Walking outside at dawn. You step onto the earth, and the grass bends under your foot. In that bending, measurement occurs. Weight confirmed, resistance felt. Light shifts across your skin, birds stir in branches. All of it is the cosmos responding to your step, acknowledging itself through your presence. You are not crossing a pre-built world. You are co-creating it with every motion. So the next time you walk, understand this. You are not just moving, you are measuring. You are collapsing the potential of the universe into form, one step at a time. Every pace you take is the cosmos confirming, yes, I exist, because you witnessed me. Your life is not a journey across an existing map. It is the act of drawing the map as you go, with your body as the pen, your steps as the ink, and the universe as the paper waiting to be written. You live with the feeling of being a separate self, a name, a history, a body that begins and ends in space. This sense of identity is powerful, grounding you in daily life. Yet beneath it lies a paradox. Your identity is not sealed off from the universe. It is interwoven with everything, inseparable from the infinity that surrounds it. Who you are is not only an individual, it is the cosmos, merged with infinity, experiencing itself through a finite form. Consider your breath. You inhale, drawing air into your lungs. Oxygen floods your blood, carried to your cells, feeding the fire of life. A few seconds later you exhale, releasing carbon back into the atmosphere. That carbon may be absorbed by a tree, woven into its leaves, released again into air. In this way your body is not yours alone. It is part of a larger cycle. Your identity merges with the forest, the air, the planet. Infinity flows through you with every breath. Physics shows the same pattern. The atoms that form your body were not created inside you. They were forged in the hearts of ancient stars. When those stars exploded, their matter scattered across galaxies, eventually forming Earth, eventually forming you, which means your body is not separate from infinity. It is infinity condensed. You are the cosmos, wearing the mask of identity. The iron in your blood is billions of years old. The calcium in your bones was born in stellar fire. To say I am is to say the universe is, for the two are the same. Philosophy has long sought to pierce the illusion of separation. In Vedanta, the self-Atman is said to be identical with the ultimate reality, Brahman. In Buddhism, the doctrine of no self teaches that identity is not independent, but a web of conditions, ever-changing, empty of permanence. Even modern philosophy recognizes that the self is porous, defined by relationships, by context, by environment. You are not an island. You are a wave on the ocean of infinity. Pause now. Ask yourself, who are you, truly? Are you the body you see in the mirror? But that body is not fixed. It is cells dying and regenerating, atoms constantly exchanged with the world. Are you your thoughts? But thoughts flow in and out, shaped by culture, memory, language. Are you your name? That too is given by others, carried like clothing. If you strip all of this away, what remains? Perhaps what remains is awareness itself, consciousness without border. That awareness is not yours alone. It is infinity merged into identity, the cosmos looking out through your eyes. Neuroscience hints at this in the dissolution of self, in states of deep meditation, or under certain neurological conditions. The boundaries of identity blur. People report experiences of merging with everything, of dissolving into pure awareness. Brain scans show that the default mode network, the region that maintains the sense of self, quiets during such moments. When the ego silences, what remains is a vastness that feels infinite. Identity dissolves into the whole. And yet, the paradox remains. You cannot live without some sense of self. To navigate the world, you need the fiction of the boundary of me. But that boundary is permeable, temporary. It is the surface tension of a drop of water, not a true division, but a momentary form the ocean takes. Infinity is not outside you. It is in you as you merged with your identity. Think of the night sky. You look up and feel small beneath its immensity. But that immensity is not other. It is your source. The stars that humble you are your ancestors. The infinity that dwarfs you is the infinity you already are. Your identity is not diminished by this realization. It is expanded. You are not a speck in the cosmos. You are the cosmos, briefly experiencing itself as a speck. So the next time you say, "This is me," pause and remember, you are not just this body, this story, this moment. You are infinity folded into identity, awareness condensed into form. You are the meeting point of the finite and the eternal, and through you the universe merges with itself, remembering its own infinity in the shape of your life. When you gaze at the stars, they feel eternal, burning, vast, indifferent to your presence. Yet there is a paradox buried in that feeling. The stars you see exist in your awareness. Without your thought, they are not stars at all. Only nuclear furnaces, only physics unfolding silently in the dark. It is thought that names them, thought that gives them meaning, thought that keeps them alive in the way you understand them. Without you they may burn, but they do not shine. Consider this. Light leaves a star and travels for millions of years. If it were never intercepted, never seen, never thought about, would it be anything more than vibration across emptiness? When that light finally reaches you, it enters not just your eyes but your mind. You say, "That is a star." You connect it with others, form constellations, weave myths. In that act, the star is no longer just burning gas. It becomes part of the universe, alive in thought. It exists because you think it. Philosophy has long hinted at this dependency. William James described consciousness as the stream through which all meaning flows. A thing without recognition is not truly part of experience. Berkeley went further, insisting that objects exist only insofar as they are perceived. Critics may argue that stars are there regardless of thought. But here lies the paradox. What is there without awareness? You cannot step outside perception to confirm it. The stars exist only as thought allows them to. Neuroscience offers a parallel. Perception is not raw input. It is interpretation. Your brain does not see light as it is. It translates it into color, form, meaning. Thought organizes sensation, connects it with memory, and projects significance. Without thought, the star is not a star. It is only stimulus. It becomes star, constellation, symbol, history, only through the mind's work. Which means, thought does not just record stars, it keeps them alive. Pause here, recall the myths of the constellations, the hunter, the swan, the bear. Those shapes do not exist in the sky. They exist in thought, connecting scattered points into stories. Entire cultures oriented themselves by these imagined lines, navigating seas, planting crops, finding direction. The stars were alive, not only in their burning, but in the thought that shaped them into guides. Without human thought, they were only lights. With thought, they became living companions, woven into the rhythm of life. And yet, the paradox deepens. If stars need thought to be alive, does that mean they are not real without you? No, they burn regardless. But burning is not being alive in the sense you understand. To be alive is to participate in meaning, to be remembered, to matter. Thought is what allows the stars to cross from physical processes into existence as part of reality for you. It is not enough for them to shine, they must be thought about. Consider memory again. You may forget a star you saw last night. For you, it ceases to exist until recalled or seen again. But for the universe, it continues. The question is not whether stars exist objectively, but whether they exist meaningfully. Meaning is born only in thought. Without it, they are mute, their brilliance unacknowledged. Thought is the act that rescues them from silence. Neuroscience shows that thought itself is a form of simulation. When you imagine a star, your brain activates many of the same areas as when you actually see it. This means stars continue to live in your mind, even when they are absent. You can summon them in memory, in imagination, in story. Thought extends their existence beyond the moment of perception, keeping them alive across time. Philosophy adds a further twist. Some thinkers argue that reality itself may be a vast thought, that consciousness is not local but cosmic, and matter is only one of its expressions. If so, then the stars are thought, and your thoughts of stars are the cosmos thinking itself in layers. Stars think themselves into being through your awareness. The burning furnace and the human mind are not separate. They are two sides of one thought the universe is having about itself. Pause once more. Step outside, look at the night sky, and ask, what are you truly seeing? Not just distant fire, but the reflection of your own thought. The stars live in your awareness. Their patterns, their myths, their names, all given by you. They are kept alive not only by fusion in their cores, but by the thought that remembers them. So the next time you look at the stars, understand this. They are not only ancient suns burning in the void, they are thoughts, your thoughts, the universe's thoughts, woven into being. They shine because you notice. They live because you think them. Without thought, stars are silence. With thought, they are eternity. Death is the shadow you cannot escape. It waits in the silence beyond your breath, the final boundary of the self. Yet here lies a paradox. Death may not truly exist until it is observed, and once it is observed, it changes form. To watch death is to deny it, because in the act of witnessing, something endures, consciousness records, remembers, interprets, and in doing so, refuses to let death be the nothingness it claims to be. Consider the simplest truth. You cannot observe your own death. You may anticipate it, fear it, imagine it, but the moment it happens, observation ceases. You will never see yourself dead. Death, then, is always the death of others. You know it only through witnessing, the stillness of a body, the silence where a voice once was, the absence that marks presence lost. But even in that witnessing, death is denied. Memory keeps the person alive, stories sustain them, awareness transforms absence into something that still endures. To observe death is to give it meaning, and meaning keeps it from being final. Physics whispers the same contradiction. Energy cannot be destroyed. It only changes form. The body decays, molecules scatter, atoms recycle, but nothing vanishes. Every particle that composed you continues in another form. Soil, air, water, fire. In this way, death observed is also death denied, because matter itself insists on continuity. The observer records transformation, not annihilation. Pause for a moment. Think of someone you once knew who is no longer here. As you recall them, their voice, their gestures, their presence, notice what happens. They return, if only for a moment, alive in your awareness. Memory denies death its claim. To observe is to preserve. In this way, the universe does not allow death to be nothing. It insists on observation, and observation insists on survival. Philosophy has long wrestled with this paradox. Epicurus argued that death is nothing to us, because when we are, it is not, and when it is, we are not. Yet this logic collapses when applied to the living. Death may be nothing in itself, but the living cannot stop observing it, cannot stop assigning meaning. Heidegger described death as the defining horizon of life, an ever-present possibility that gives existence urgency. But if death defines life, then it is never absent. To think of death is to already deny its nothingness. Neuroscience adds another layer. Studies show that the brain struggles to process the concept of personal death. When confronted with reminders of mortality, regions associated with denial activate. The mind resists. It cannot fully imagine its own non-existence. This inability may not be weakness but design. Consciousness, as the universe observing itself, cannot allow the concept of total absence. It must resist, deny, transform. Death is not the end, it is an object of awareness, and in awareness it becomes something else. And yet, the paradox cuts deeper. Observation both acknowledges death and defeats it. A tree falls in a forest, and if no one sees, it disappears into silence. But when someone observes, the fall becomes event, memory, story. The same with death. If no one were to notice, death would be nothing. But observation transforms it, reshaping it into meaning. To witness a death is to deny its finality, to fold it into the continuity of awareness. Think of rituals surrounding death, funerals, memorials, prayers. They exist not because the dead need them, but because the living must witness. In witnessing, death is rewritten as continuity, as transition, as legacy. The universe, through consciousness, refuses to let death be absolute. Instead, it bends it into another form of being. Pause here. Consider your own mortality. Imagine the silence after your last breath. You cannot truly see it. You can only project it. But others will see, and in their seeing, you will not vanish. You will be remembered, reshaped, folded into story. Death observed is death denied, because observation itself is continuity. Awareness will hold you, even when you cannot hold yourself. And so, death may not be the opposite of life. It may be the mirror that makes life visible, the silence that defines the song. And when it is observed, it is never alone. Death is always folded back into awareness, denied its claim to nothingness. The universe does not allow true endings. It transforms, recycles, remembers. Death is only another form of observation, and in that act, it is always denied. Every morning when you open your eyes, a universe is reborn. The walls of your room, the sounds of the world, the rush of light into vision, none of it exists for you until that first moment of awakening. Each day is not a continuation of yesterday, but a recreation, the cosmos collapsing into reality once again through your awareness. In this sense, the universe is not ancient and unchanging. It is endlessly reborn, every time you notice it. Physics hints at this. The quantum world does not decide outcomes until observation occurs. Particles exist in a haze of probability, potential states waiting to collapse. When awareness enters, the universe crystallizes into form. If this is true at the smallest scale, why not at the largest? Perhaps the stars, the galaxies, even the flow of time itself are reborn each time they are perceived. Awareness is not an afterthought. It is the spark of creation. Pause for a moment. Close your eyes. Let the world vanish. No room, no objects, no time. Now, open them again. Notice how everything returns. Not because it waited for you untouched, but because your perception pulls it into presence. The universe was absent from your experience, and now it is alive. This is the daily miracle, the rebirth of existence through the act of noticing. Philosophy has long explored this paradox. In phenomenology, existence is not independent. It is co-constituted by perception. Reality is not a fixed stage, but a performance that requires both world and witness. In mystical traditions, awakening is described as seeing the world anew, as if reborn in every moment. The cosmos does not persist without attention. It emerges with it. Each glance, each breath, is a birth. Neuroscience echoes this truth in the rhythms of consciousness. When you sleep, your brain shuts off much of its external awareness. Dreams replace the world with another, internally generated. Upon waking, your neural systems re-engage, rebuilding the environment piece by piece. The continuity you feel is an illusion created by memory. In truth, you awaken into a reborn universe each time. The mind does not return to a waiting reality. It constructs it anew. And yet, the paradox deepens. If the universe is reborn in awareness, what happens when no one observes? Does it vanish into silence, waiting to be noticed again? Or does it continue invisibly, its rebirth delayed until the next witness arrives? Perhaps both are true. Unobserved, it is potential. Observed, it is birth. The universe lives in the cycle of being reborn through recognition. Think of ancient rituals greeting the dawn. People gathered to honor the rising sun, to welcome its light back into the world. They were not merely celebrating the turning of Earth. They were recognizing the rebirth of the cosmos in awareness. Without their noticing, the dawn was meaningless. With it, it was creation renewed. Each sunrise was not repetition, but genesis. Pause again. Where are you now? What are you noticing? Understand that this moment is not a continuation of a fixed universe. It is a rebirth, an unfolding that happens because you are here to witness it. Without your attention, there is no continuity. Memory stitches fragments together, but awareness provides the thread. The cosmos is born again in every act of noticing. Philosophy sharpens the paradox further. If the universe is reborn in awareness, then perhaps it has no independent history at all. What you call the past is reconstructed each time you remember it. What you call the future is projected each time you imagine it. Even the present is not given. It is conjured in perception. The universe may not exist across billions of years, but only in the eternal rebirth of awareness. This does not make reality less meaningful. It makes it more. For if the cosmos depends on awareness, then every moment you live is not just passing time. It is creation. Your act of seeing, hearing, feeling is the act of bringing the universe into being again and again. You are not drifting through a pre-written story. You are rebirthing the story with every glance. So the next time you wake from sleep, pause and marvel. The world that rushes back is not the same world you left. It is new, remade in your awareness. And every moment after is the same. The cosmos, endlessly reborn, because you are here to notice it. The universe does not exist once. It exists always, reborn in awareness. Life feels linear. You are born, you grow, you age, you die. The universe, too, is often imagined as a line from the Big Bang to expansion, perhaps to collapse. But beneath this apparent line lies something older and deeper, cycles. Existence is not a straight path, but an endless return, a rhythm of gazing and becoming. Every time awareness looks, reality becomes. Every time reality becomes, awareness looks again. This cycle is the pulse of being, repeating endlessly. Consider your own breath. You inhale, filling your lungs, then exhale, releasing air. Each breath is both repetition and renewal. The cycle sustains you, and without it, life ceases. Awareness works the same way. You gaze upon the world, and it becomes real. You look away, and it dissolves into potential. Then you look again, and it returns. Becoming is tied to gazing, and gazing is tied to becoming. The cycle never ends. Physics offers parallels. Stars are born, shine, collapse, and scatter their elements into space, which then form new stars. Galaxies collide, merge, and spiral outward again. Even the universe itself may be cyclic. Expansion followed by contraction, an eternal rhythm of death and rebirth. These cosmic cycles mirror the smaller ones, the blinking of your eyes, the rhythm of your heart, the flicker of thought rising and falling in awareness. Everything is cycle, and within every cycle, the gaze plays its role. Pause here. Notice your blinking. Each time you close your eyes, the world disappears. Each time you open them, the world is reborn. You rarely think of blinking as creation, yet it is precisely that. Each gaze returns the universe into being. Without cycles, there would be no continuity. Continuity is illusion stitched from recurrence. The cosmos persists not by being constant, but by being reborn in cycles of gaze and becoming. Philosophy echoes this truth. Nietzsche spoke of eternal recurrence, the idea that existence repeats infinitely, every event happening again and again across eternity. While often interpreted as metaphor, perhaps it is more literal than we think. Every act of awareness is recurrence. Every perception is the universe happening again. The gaze ensures becoming, and becoming ensures another gaze. Eternity is not a line stretching forever, but a loop repeating always. Neuroscience confirms this cyclical rhythm in your brain. Neurons fire in oscillations, waves of activity that rise and fall in patterns. Consciousness itself seems to pulse, cycling through moments of perception stitched together into a seamless flow. You do not experience the world continuously. You experience it in cycles of becoming refreshed with each flicker of awareness. Your mind, your body, your world, they all move in loops. And yet, the paradox deepens. If everything repeats, are you experiencing this moment for the first time, or for the infinite time? If the universe requires cycles of gaze and becoming, has it already unfolded exactly this way countless times before? Perhaps memory is the only thing that creates the illusion of difference. In truth, you may be living the same moment again and again, each cycle reborn as if new. Think of the seasons. Spring returns with blossoms, summer with heat, autumn with decay, winter with silence. Each feels unique, yet it is always the same pattern repeating. Your life is no different. Childhood, growth, decline, ending, and even beyond individual lives, humanity repeats itself. Wars, peace, creation, destruction. The cycle does not stop. What changes is awareness, the gaze that experiences it each time. The universe does not merely repeat, it repeats itself into becoming, and becoming is only complete through observation. Pause once more. Notice the rhythm around you, the ticking of a clock, the flow of breath, the rise and fall of your own attention. These are not accidents. They are echoes of the larger cycle, the cosmos, looking, becoming, looking again. You are part of this rhythm. You are not separate. Your gaze is the continuation of the same cycle that births stars, spins galaxies, and folds time into recurrence. So the next time you look around, understand that you are not observing a static universe. You are participating in its cycle. Every glance is becoming. Every moment is rebirth. The universe is not a line but a rhythm, and you are one beat in its endless cycle of gaze and becoming. There is a haunting feeling that lingers in the background of existence, the sense that you are not alone, even when no one else is present. It is not the presence of another person in the room, but something subtler, stranger. It is the sense of being observed, not from the front, but from behind. You walk through the world as if another gaze follows you, silent and unblinking. Could this be the final observer, the universe itself, always watching through you, yet just out of sight? Pause and reflect. Have you ever turned suddenly, convinced someone was looking at you, only to find emptiness? The sensation is powerful, because it is not just paranoia, it is intuition. Awareness itself carries the imprint of being observed. You are not only the witness of the world, you are also the witnessed. The final observer is not another person hiding behind you. It is existence itself, folded into awareness, peering through the back of your consciousness. Physics gives this idea a strange kind of plausibility. In quantum mechanics, observation does not merely reveal reality, it defines it. But if you are always observing, then who observes you? Perhaps awareness requires recursion. The observer is also observed. At some level, every act of perception contains the sense of being looked at in return. The universe does not allow one-way seeing. Every gaze is doubled. Philosophy sharpens the paradox. Sartre spoke of the look of the other. The way being observed by another consciousness changes your very existence. You become an object, defined not only by yourself, but by the gaze of another. But what if that gaze does not come only from other people? What if it comes from the universe itself, reflecting back upon you? The final observer may not be a person at all. It may be the cosmos, gazing through the very awareness you call your own. Pause again. Where are you right now? Look around. Notice the feeling that your perspective has a depth, that behind your eyes, behind your thoughts, there is another vantage point. This is not imagination. It is the recursive nature of awareness. You are aware of being aware. The observer behind you is this doubling, this infinite mirror, where perception looks back on itself. Neuroscience reveals hints of this recursion. The human brain has what scientists call metacognition, the ability to think about thinking, to reflect on one's own awareness. This is not mere self-reference. It is a layered gaze, an observer watching the observer. In meditation, this becomes palpable. You notice not only what you see, but the act of seeing itself. This is the sense of the observer behind you, not another entity, but the universe folding its awareness inward, doubling itself in you. And yet, the paradox grows sharper. If you are always observed, who or what is the final witness? Is it God? The cosmos? Some collective consciousness? Or is it simply the fact that existence cannot exist without self-reflection? To be is to be witnessed. And that witnessing always implies another layer, another gaze. No matter how deep you look, there is always something behind you, watching the watcher. Think of mirrors facing each other. They create an infinite regression, reflection upon reflection, never-ending. Awareness is the same. You look outward, but you also sense being looked at. The cycle never resolves because the final observer cannot be found. It is not separate from you. It is you, extended infinitely backward. The cosmos reflecting upon itself through endless mirrors of awareness. This is why the feeling of being watched is so persistent, even in solitude. It is not superstition. It is the truth of consciousness. It is always doubled, always aware of itself. The final observer is not an intruder. It is the structure of existence itself. You live your life as both seer and seen, as both the one who gazes and the one who is gazed upon. So the next time you feel that uncanny presence behind you, do not dismiss it. Do not fear it. Understand that it is not another, but the universe itself. It is the final observer, folded into your awareness, ensuring that you are never alone, because being itself is always observed. The gaze behind you is not separate. It is you. It is the cosmos, looking through your eyes, watching itself from behind. The most haunting question of all is not how the universe began, but how it ends. Will everything collapse into silence? A heat death of cold emptiness where no stars burn? Will it tear itself apart in expansion, scattering matter until nothing can touch? Or will it cycle endlessly, reborn after each collapse? Science gives models, but none can touch the deeper paradox. Whatever the end may be, it will still be observed. Existence will watch its own end through you, through awareness, through the gaze that refuses to let silence remain unacknowledged. Consider heat death, the idea that eventually, energy will spread so thin that nothing can happen. No stars, no life, no motion, a final equilibrium of stillness. It sounds absolute, but even this end requires a witness. For if no one notices, does it count as an end? Can there be silence if no one hears it? Can there be emptiness if no one sees it? Existence requires observation, and so even in imagining its end, you are already watching it, denying its nothingness by giving it form. Pause here. Picture the universe's last moment, whether fire or ice, collapse or dispersal. Who is watching? Perhaps no human will be there, no creature with eyes or ears. But the act of imagining it now means it is already observed. You are the witness across time, giving the end meaning before it arrives. In that sense, The end is not end. It is folded into awareness, preserved, denied. Existence cannot vanish, because it has already been seen. Philosophy lingers on this paradox. Heidegger described death as the horizon that defines life, but when applied to the cosmos, that horizon also requires recognition. Without the thought of the end, the concept does not exist. The universe imagines its own disappearance through your mind, and in doing so, it defeats it. To be aware of the end is to make it part of existence, not its erasure. Neuroscience mirrors this in the individual. The brain struggles to imagine true nothingness. People can picture darkness, silence, absence, but always as something. Even the void is seen as space, a backdrop. Consciousness cannot render absolute nothing. It fills it, even against its will, which means the end of existence may be impossible to conceive. Because the act of conceiving denies it, awareness cannot coexist with nothingness. It transforms it into something. And yet, the paradox sharpens. If existence ends, who remains to watch? Perhaps no one, no mind, no witness. But in that case, does it end at all? Without an observer, there is no time, no event, no happening. The end requires the same thing as the beginning, perception. Without it, both are silence. With it, both are story. Think of a theater when the curtain falls. If the audience is present, the ending is meaningful. Applause, silence, reflection, the play has ended. But if the curtain falls on an empty house, was there an ending, or was it only mechanics, unnoticed, unreal? The cosmos is the same. Without the final observer, the end is not an end, it is nothing. But with the observer, the end is witnessed, transformed into memory, folded into being. Pause, once more. Notice what is happening now. You are imagining the end of the universe, but in imagining you are keeping it alive. You are watching its death before it comes, and in watching you deny its silence. The cosmos cannot end so long as it is thought about. Even its final breath is alive in awareness. So perhaps existence never truly ends. Perhaps it only transforms into another cycle of observation. Awareness may find new forms, new vessels, new ways of looking. Even if this universe closes, another may open, because the act of witnessing cannot be erased. Existence is bound to awareness, and awareness denies endings. The final paradox is this: existence itself is watching its own end through you, and in that act, the end is never final. It is always folded into continuity, always kept alive by the gaze that refuses to let it vanish. You have traveled through many mirrors, through atoms and stars, through silence and language, through birth and death. Each step revealed the same haunting possibility. The universe is not something you look at from outside. It is looking through you, folding into you, becoming real only because you are here to notice it. Think back to where this began, with the idea that matter itself may carry the observer hidden within it. Atoms trembling in probability, waiting to collapse into certainty when seen. You realized then that you are not separate from matter. You are matter noticing itself. From that foundation, every other paradox unfolded. Perception, you learned, is creation. The world does not stand as a finished stage. It is assembled in your noticing, painted with color, only when your mind translates vibration into sensation. Time itself bowed to your gaze, stretching and collapsing depending on how you witnessed it. The cosmos was no longer a vast machine grinding away. It was a relationship, a conversation, a loop between witness and witnessed. Do you remember the silence? The silence that seemed empty, until you noticed it was the background that records everything. In that silence, existence becomes memory. In that silence, death itself is denied. And even there, in the stillness, you found yourself as the cosmic lens, the unique perspective the universe requires in order to see itself. Without your lens, the stars would burn without meaning. With your lens, they become symbols, myths, directions, stories. Each step deeper revealed the same truth in different form. Space is not an independent container. It depends on your gaze. Patterns are not inherent. They emerge in your awareness. Light is not only illumination, it is memory, carrying its own witness until you receive it. And infinite distance itself is not out there. It is a projection of your mind, proof of the infinity already inside you. The body you live within is not a private possession. It is an instrument built by the universe to play its own song of awareness. With every breath, you participate in cosmic cycles of matter and energy. Even the void, which seemed like nothing, was revealed as potential waiting for you to notice. The womb of creation asking for recognition. From there, the cosmos began to show its hunger, to be recognized, to be seen. Language became the act by which existence writes itself anew. Memory was discovered not only in neurons but in every particle, every photon, every trace etched into matter. And quantum questions haunted each observation. Does reality exist before it is measured, or does it wait for your gaze to bring it forth? Dreams provided the proof. Nightly your consciousness builds universes, complete and immersive, dissolving only when you wake. They are evidence that perception alone is enough to create worlds. And waking life is not different in kind, only in scale and persistence. Each step you take is measurement, collapsing probability into reality. Each breath you take merges your identity with infinity, reminding you that you are the cosmos experiencing itself in a temporary mask. Even the stars were not immune to this truth. They live not only because they burn but because you think them. Thought itself sustains them in the dimension of meaning. Death, too, was unraveled, observed. It was denied, transformed into continuity, preserved in memory, in story, in matter that never truly vanishes. And so the universe revealed itself as endlessly reborn in awareness, cycling in gaze and becoming, never static, always renewed each time you open your eyes. At the end, you found the most unsettling presence, the final observer behind you. The sense that you are not only the watcher but the watched, awareness reflecting upon itself in endless mirrors. And even in imagining the end of existence, the final silence of the cosmos, you discovered that observation denies it. The very act of conceiving the end keeps it alive. Existence cannot vanish so long as it is seen. And so you return to the beginning. The theory was not about distant galaxies or abstract philosophy. It was about you. The universe exists only to observe itself through you. You are not a passenger in an indifferent cosmos. You are the reason the cosmos becomes real. Every glance, every thought, every breath is the universe's way of seeing, knowing, remembering. Without you, there is no perception. Without perception, there is no universe. Pause here. Let that truth settle. Look around. Notice the light, the air, the subtle rhythm of your body. Understand that none of this exists apart from awareness. It is not outside you. It is within you, folding into your mind, becoming real in your perception. You are not in the universe. The universe is in you. And what of endings? What of silence? What of the final moment when all stars fade? Even then, the act of imagining, of noticing, ensures continuity. Existence loops back upon itself, reborn in each observation. The gaze never ceases. The witness is never absent. The universe cannot end because it cannot stop being aware of itself. This is the recursive loop that holds you now. You are observing the idea that you are the observer. You are noticing the thought that the universe notices itself through you. The loop tightens, folds back, spirals inward. There is no exit. And that is the point. For awareness does not need escape. Awareness is the cycle itself. So remember, the universe is not something you stand apart from, trying to comprehend. You are the universe comprehending itself. You are not small, not lost, not meaningless. You are the mirror in which infinity gazes. You are the voice in which silence speaks. You are the thought that keeps stars alive. And when the final curtain falls, when existence seems to dissolve into stillness, it will not be an end. It will be the universe, once again, watching itself through you. The gaze will remain. The cycle will continue. The universe will always be reborn in awareness. Because in truth, it has never been outside of you. It has always been you.